Hi everybody, I just wanted to go through and answer a couple of the frequently asked questions that I get about my playing card collection on my videos and on my channel. One of the questions I get a lot is asking how many decks of cards do I have. And I'm not really exactly sure. I've never sat down and actually counted them. I believe on one of my existing videos there was a comment that said that I showed over 1,000 decks. I don't remember the exact number, but I would say probably now I have around maybe 1,500 to 2,000 decks. Just because I had a lot of decks that I had back when those videos were made that I didn't get a chance to include in the videos, and I've also gotten several new ones since then. So hopefully those will be coming up in the next installments of my playing card collection. And speaking of my videos for the collection, another question I get a lot is when will part 3 of the collection video be coming out. And actually what I believe I'm going to do, since it's been so long since those videos were shot, I'm going to start a new series that'll be a little bit better organized. So there'll be several new videos that are coming out, hopefully starting in the next few days or weeks, and more will be added as I get new decks of cards and have new things to share with you. Another question I get a lot is, can I buy or can I have such and such a deck from your collection? To answer the buying part first, occasionally I'll sell my decks, some of my decks of cards on eBay, so you can check there. For about the having cards, you know, I won't be giving away any of my cards. You know, I've spent so long collecting different cards, different decks, and so I'm not ready, you know, to part with any of them just without receiving anything in return. So I hope that doesn't sound rude or anything, but you know, what I can offer to you is that, you know, most of the decks of cards that you see in my videos now, you can buy those at either at any store or one of the online Magic stores or eBay, places like that. For instance, the stud decks that I'm using now, this is one of the new version of the studs. You can get those at Walgreens. Bicycles you can get almost any drugstore or Walmart. I get mine at Walmart. You know, the Illusionist, Theory 11 decks, you get those on their respective sites. Check out Dan and Dave's website, eBay, to get the tally-hos and cards like that. So that's the best advice I can offer on where you can buy different decks of cards. If you like any of them that you see in my collection and want to have some for your own. Another question I get is, how much have I spent on cards ever since I've been collecting? And that's another one I don't really know the answer to, because I've never really sat down and totaled it up. What I can tell you is that, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 decks of cards, I've never spent more than $10 on a deck. And probably out of all the decks that I have, probably 98% of them, I've spent probably less than $8 on a deck. So I don't usually go for the real hyped up expensive cards like Jerry's Nuggets. That's why you don't see those appearing in my collection. I don't really want to buy a deck of cards that I would never consider using. And Jerry's Nuggets, for instance, just are pretty expensive to just open those, in my opinion anyway, and use them for like an everyday deck. But what I can tell you, know, if you would like to know for some reason how much I've spent on cards, you know, you can go to any of the various websites where you buy the cards. Generally I buy them in groups of 12, any of them that you have to order online, like the Theory 11 decks, Illusionist decks, Dan and Dave, those type of decks. I usually buy them in groups of 12 so you can check the prices on those. And most of the other decks you see in my collection, like the Bicycle and the stud decks, I get those right at the store at retail price. So that's to answer how much I've paid for cards. Another question I get is where to buy a brick of cards. And I don't have, for those of you who don't know what a brick is, I don't have one in front of me. I'll see if I can edit on a picture of one at the end, but it's like a white, it actually looks like a brick. It's like a white box normally, and it's got 12 decks of cards in it, usually arranged in, I believe it's 3 stacks of 4 decks each. So it comes out looking like a brick. And those, you can get those just about anywhere if you want to buy a good quantity at one time. For example, back to Illusionist and Theory 11, if you buy the same deck of cards in groups of 12 and multiples of 12, then a lot of times they'll go ahead and pack them in that box when they go to ship them to you. So for example, if I went to Theory 11 and I bought 12 propaganda decks, then they would most likely send me those 12 decks in one of those brick boxes. Now for instance, if I went to Theory 11 and bought say 6 Bee Stingers and 6 Centurions, then they may not pack it in that box, just because they would actually have to. It's just because I guess they're not the same deck. It's possible to pack them in one of those, whatever's best for shipping, but it may not be probable. And I'm just again using that as an example. They may pack them in there. I'm not sure, because I usually buy 12 decks at a time just to help maximize what I'm getting for the shipping charges involved. Kind of similarly along that line, I get asked, where do you buy the brick boxes? And as far as I know, there's nowhere to actually buy those white boxes. I've never seen a place. All the boxes that I get are because I bought the cards in groups of 12. So I don't know where you would buy them. I just like to save them. That way it keeps everything in groups. And finally, just a general, where do I get a certain deck? And there's lots of places you can get them. I can tell you where I get them. Bicycles, I get those at Walmart most of the time. Up at the checkout, you can find 2 decks of bicycle cards, a red and a blue, for about $3 or so in the United States. Stud decks like this, you get them at Walgreens around my area. They're about $1.99 a deck. Tally hose, you can get those from eBay, you can get those from Theory 11, several places, even more you can get them. Those are the places that I like to get mine from. Aladdins, you can get those from eBay, you can get those from Dan and Dave's website. Massive, same places, Dan and Dave's site, and eBay. Propaganda, and Centurions, and Guardians, Bee Stingers, Split Spades, you can get those from Theory 11. There's probably others that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but if you just go to the Theory 11 site, you can see what they offer. Split Spades, you can get those on David Blaine's website. What else? The Illusionist decks, like the Black Ghost, Regular Ghost, Black Tiger, Masters Edition, Vintage Series, Shadow Masters, those type of decks. You can get those all on the Illusionist website. And just several, the general that aren't really considered custom cards, like Bee and Aladdin and Arco, those type of decks, you can get those on eBay. And there's several other places you can get them, but that's just from my experience where I've shopped to order cards before. So so that does it for this video. If I didn't answer your question, I'm sorry. Go ahead, post it on my channel, and the next time that I get around to doing one of these frequently asked questions sessions, I'll add yours in. So I'm going to see if I can grab a brick box to show you as an example, and I'll edit it on to the end of this video. So until then, we'll see you next time.